Go. Hey guys, what up? Jason Geiman here tonight, and we're going to have an awesome show tonight. I have Joe on here. He is another, some people might want to call you a YouTube guru. That term has been used. Wait, Jason is over here to talk. That can be something that we are going to talk about tonight, and we're going to just have a good discussion here. I reached out to talk to Joe. Joe has an awesome YouTube channel that just kind of goes about the day of what it is like to basically be like a pressure washer, you know, the struggles you deal with, some things that you need to work on. And so these are some things that we're going to talk to. Joe is a great guy, like watching his videos. We got Zig says, dude, Joe is one of my favorite people on YouTube. He's already getting all kinds of love on here. So that is awesome. Joe, tell me a little bit about who Joe is, you know, family, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the love from the guys that do follow me. It's great to see some comments coming up already. That's really cool. I live in Northeast Connecticut, so, it's still winter here, and we're waiting to kick off our season. But family man, I got 3 kids, 3 teenage kids. My wife's a nurse. I'm 52 years old. I've already had a couple careers that I've worked through, and discovered power washing about a little over 2 years ago. And
So wait a minute. You're 50 years old and you wanted to start a pressure washing business?
yeah, man, 52.
Now,
52. I started when I was 50.
now I have to say that because a lot of my community and a lot of my trainings are people either over 40 or over 50, and so it's kind of actually funny. So,
Right.
but that's an awesome thing. That it's one of those things. Are you too old to start a pressure washing business at 50 years old?
I don't think so. Not if it wears me out a little sometimes. It really depends on how hard you actually want to work. But I think that, again, if you're watching my channel, you see that we're evolving and figuring out how to do things faster and easier and with less effort. And the way I've got myself set up right now, I don't really think it's going to be too hard for me to make a lot of money.
So, what made you decide? What did you do before you started your pressure washing business?
Well, I worked in printing for about 17, 18 years. That was my first career. And then I moved into mortgage finance, and I did that for 17 years also. 15 years. I did mortgage finance for 15 years, and it was never really my passion. It's not what I wanted to do. I was good at sales, and we made a lot of money doing it, supported my family, but I was never really that happy doing it. Really always wanted to work for myself, and was kind of always doing some little second or third job on the side, looking for some other avenue, some other fit for myself. And we started the business. We were doing a little bit of snow removal and lawn care and stuff in our neighborhood. And then I think it was the winter of 2018, 2019, I said to my sons, we had like 15 clients of snow removal that we did locally, and we'd make the money, divvy it up, and split it by threes. And here's your third, here's my third. And I said to the boys, I'm going to save my third this year, and I'm going to buy some basic power washing equipment, and we're going to start power washing some houses in the neighborhood. And the funny thing is, my wife said to me that that's not a good idea. That's never going to take off. You're never going to make any money doing that. And then I said to my brother-in-law, this is what I'm going to do. And he goes, that's a job for a college kid. You're never going to make any money. I'm like, all right. So I felt a little challenged by it, And I went out and bought myself a 2.5 gallon per minute Simpson machine. And I started pressure washing, not even using any chemical, just pressure washing. And then I decided I wanted to try to use Simple Green. I thought that's right. And I did 3 or 4 houses like that. And then a friend of mine who's a painter says, you need to Google the XJet, you need to Google J-Rod, Google downstreaming, and start learning about some of these things. And he says, and you need to use bleach. Go get yourself a gallon of bleach. So I ordered myself an XJet, and I figured out bleach, and then I figured out pool shock at Walmart, the pool essentials, whatever. And I XJetted freaking 200 houses my first summer out of the back of my minivan, and made everybody eat their words about you're not, or you can't. You know, like
So was that 2019 or 2020?
that was 2019. That was the I started in March of 2019 with my minivan and a little tiny landscaping trailer and a 2.5 gallon per minute machine and an X-Jet. That's all I had. I didn't have any hose reels, nothing.
And what did you end up doing your very first year?
We did 211 units the first year.
I
So
mean, how much money did you end up doing your first year?
a little under 90.
That's pretty good for being
Yeah,
starting out as a regular pressure washer and moving to soft washing and stuff.
right, right, exactly. So, we got into like August of that first year, like, not even 6 months in, and decided that I needed to look more like a contractor and less like a, you know, chuck in a
Chuck with a
truck.
truck. I was
Yeah,
going to say Chuck with a truck, but with a Chuck with a van.
with a van or a college kid. So I went and bought the F-250 that I have now. And we've just been working on that truck since. But even when I bought the truck first, I still didn't have the right equipment. I was still throwing the hoses in the truck and picking the power washer up and dragging it around the house and dragging the bucket around the house. But the truck, people ask me like, how do you get business? The truck gets me business. The
Yeah,
truck,
because
the truck
you don't
on
have
the
no
road.
big, amazing website, do you?
I don't. I have a
You have
Google.
a Google website. I looked at it.
It's not much going on it. You know what I mean? But I do get hits from it. I probably, when the season gets going a little bit, I get at least 1, 2 projects a week. I know that everyone will laugh at that, but that one extra project or 2 extra projects a week kind of snowballs into more projects because I put a yard sign in every house I do. I do, talk to the neighbors and talk to the client, and I don't know. And
So you don't spend thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing every month?
I don't. I don't. I spend. I know you like this. I know you like this because I spend very little money on advertising. I spend like no money on digital advertising. I do a little bit of.
And the reason why I'm going down this road is because I'm getting hammered with Jason. What's the best Google people to run my Google ads? And Jason, what's the best way that I can spend money in Facebook? And Jason, what can I do to do this? And it's just like
Yeah.
you did $90,000 your very first year, and I'm going to assume you probably made that mostly by signs and just word of mouth. Am I not
Yeah.
correct?
You're absolutely correct. A lot of it was not one of the main things is just you can't be afraid to go knock on doors. When I first started, I had nothing, right? I had no yard signs. I went onto my computer and I just printed out some paper and cut it up. And I was literally putting that on people's doors and I was getting phone calls from that. And then first couple of jobs I get in, I went and bought myself 100 12 by 18 one-sided signs, and they were terrible. These little tiny things. I was putting them in people's yards, and I'm getting phone calls from them. And just literally knocking on people's doors when I first started got me business. And then telling everybody that what you're doing, like literally make it be. I think this is true of anything that you're going to be successful in. You have to be like 100% focused on one thing. You really need to drill down and just be all about this one thing, whatever it is that you're becoming successful in. If it's your business or your fitness part of your life or diet or whatever it is, if you're going to be successful about it, you need to really drill down on it and make it be like the only thing you're thinking about, the only thing you're talking about. And that's what I did for like 6 months, and it just freaking blew up for me. And then I started advertising. I advertised in my local paper. In the summertime, I put a pretty good size ad in the paper every single week, and I get 3 or 4 deals every single week. Yard signs, I get 3 or 4 from every single week. Google My Business, I get 1 or 2 from every week. The constant word of mouth. And then I do use Facebook, but I don't pay for ads. I put up my before and afters on Facebook. I post them to all of the mom groups, like the yard. I don't know why they call them mom groups, because I guess because mom's home looking at them mostly. But the yard sale type groups, the neighborhood groups, and I put my before and afters in there, or we talk about something like, do you have black streaks on your roof? Do you know that this kind of mold that can be removed, or and I just post on these things. and they get shared and they get shared and they get shared. And then someone will put something on a yard sale site. Hey, who does power washing? And like 10 people will say powerful improvements, Joe Deery, blah, 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 boom, you know, and then they see you are getting the most 3 or 4 people commenting, and there'll be like 4 or 5 other guys that get one comment, but you got 4 or 5 because you're there all the time, you know. So, and I'll pay for any Facebook ads.
Right.
I,
No,
I
and that's the thing too, because that's kind of what I was talking with like Rob Anderson not too long ago, talking about, because he's another Facebook king that gets a
oh
lot of
yeah,
business off of Facebook, and he don't spend a lot of money in Facebook ads. And how does he do it? He's posting he said he posts 3 to 5 times a day, and then he's sharing it out in all the groups. And guess what? That is definitely a way that you can grow a business and be successful.
absolutely, absolutely. You know, Rob has grown a tremendous business. He's also one of the guys that I first started looking at when I was getting in the business. I learned a bunch of technical things from Rob, how to do work, you know, how to market yourself a little bit. I think that if you look at anybody, any of these guys, one of the first things they're going to tell you: yard signs. Yard signs work. They
He's
do.
another one that's a big fan of yard sign. He still puts out a lot of yard sign. He's not too far away from you, is he?
He's a few hours away from
Is
me.
he? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, I'm in the very northeast corner of Connecticut, so I'm like 1 hour from Boston, 1 hour from Hartford, 1 hour from Providence.
So how
So
big is your area of how big is your service area?
I try not to go more than 45 minutes in any direction. You know, uh, I stay in Connecticut, so you know, from where I am, I drive less than an hour is my, you know, target footprint. I like to stay within half an hour, but I'll drive an hour for the right ticket. You know, I've done
Gotcha.
that. I'll go all the way down to the coast for the right ticket. But
So we talked about Facebook and that kind of thing. What other forms of business have you used to get customers and stuff?
uh, I find that, you know, again, a lot of people are gonna joke about your Google My Business web page, but that's been good for me too. Like I get business there. I think having a decent Google My Business page, which I think mine is, um, I come up first in my search area for gutter cleaning near me, power washing near me, soft washing near me. You know, I come up number one. You go over the next town or two, I come up number one. And those that has been good for me, and it cost me nothing, just a little bit of time. Again, watching videos like yours and a lot of these other guys that are online about how to do SEO, keywords, this and that, and getting your Google My Business page set up right will bring you business. It doesn't cost anything. Um, I do like to market locally. We have a newspaper that comes out once a week that goes to every single home. I like to market in that. It's where people go in my area to look for contractors, um, to look for yard sales, things that are on sale. You know, it's kind of like the bargain buyer kind of thing that sits on your table till the next week when another one comes out. Um, that's been good for me. I think
Yeah.
a good place to spend money marketing if you do have a vehicle, and it's or you don't have a vehicle. If you don't have a truck, get a truck. Look like a contractor. You know, seriously, I think that was probably the biggest turning point in my business was looking the part. You know,
Well, and that's
spend
even, I mean, you got T-shirts. You know, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to go get the $100, $75, wait
you
three
don't.
months shirts. You know, you can go to Queensberry.com or whatever it's called and get the $7, 100% polyester shirts and be at it. Or you can go to your local guy and again, business network and get shirts there. You might pay a little bit more, but
Yeah,
on the other hand, you're also doing networking.
yeah. You know, for the guys starting out, like you don't have to spend $1 million. I mean, when I started, I knew right away that I wanted to try to look the part, even though I didn't have the vehicle yet. You know, I had the minivan and the trailer. I did what I could with what I had, and I promote that a lot on my channel. You know, on the YouTube channel, doing what you can with what you've got. I really don't like to hear any excuses from people that I can't do something because I don't have. You can do a lot with what you've got. You know, my first business cards I made on my own computer and I cut them up and they were ridiculous. But at least I had something with my name on it. I went to Walmart. I bought polyester T-shirts and iron-ons. And I made myself 10 shirts that were just iron-ons, and I still have them. we joke it's Gen 1, and then Gen 2, and then Generation 3. So as the marketing progresses, it's neat to look at those things, but you don't need to spend a lot of money to, begin to brand yourself and
Well,
get
and a
out
lot
there.
of things, I think we get into this mindset and this crap that it's got to be perfect, or it's got to be 100%, or I look like crap, and that is not the case at all. In fact, I'm going to disagree with that 100%.
Hundred
Joe is just talking about, you don't have to have the best of the best. He started off with garbage cans on the back of his truck and putting water and bleach and color and all that kind of stuff. And guess what? We can do that. We don't need these high dollar tanks and everything. Is it nice and makes things a lot easier? Why, sure. But we don't have to go in debt. Did you start out in debt when you started? No, you didn't start out in debt. You worked and made money, and you got made fun of saying you're going to do this stuff because you wanted to do it, and you did it. And that's what's awesome. That's what I like the most about it.
Yeah, we literally started. With $1,000. So I made my third of the snow removal money was about 1,000, and I went and bought a $300 pressure washer, and I bought a $150 X-Jet and a couple hoses, and that was it. I was off running. But what I did was every single job that I did, I would take most of that job and put it back into the business. I bought more hoses, new wheels for my trailer so it looked better. I went out and bought some marketing signs and started advertising in the paper and putting more back in. And then I saved money. And then by August, I bought my truck cash and then got the truck lettered. And like I say, that was really the turning point for me in the business, not only in how I looked, but in my mindset out in the job. I felt like the real deal now. I didn't feel like kind of like trying to hide through the neighborhood in my minivan. You know what I mean? I pull up in my truck and I'm proud and I look the part, you know what I mean? And you walk around the house with the client and their impression of you is that this guy's in business. He's got the right vehicle, and they don't really look at your equipment. They don't know. They don't judge you on your equipment like we do amongst our little community. We judge the crap out of each other in our community. Or you don't have an 8-gallon, or you don't have whatever. Dude, I made more money than most guys with their 8 gallons that have been in it for years in my very first season because I'm out hustling.
And that's important. Of even just the part of trying to get customers, doing marketing, doing the things that you got to do. And I push that a bunch on my channel of, I much rather you spend little money on equipment and a whole lot on marketing, or a whole lot of, I always say there's 2 ways to get customers. One way to get customers is time, and that's whether you're doing the time, you're going out, talking to people, you're doing that, putting signs out, doing all that kind of stuff, or you open your wallet. Them are the 2 ways you get customers. And if you're not willing to do that, then that's a whole nother issue that we have to. So you started on $1,000. When I first started my business a long time ago, I only started on a $2,000 budget.
Yep,
and so it's something that you can do and make money and be successful at the end of the day. And that's what the whole goal is.
yep.
And so I know I also looked at your 5-star reviews. You haven't been pushing them very much. You need to start pushing them a little bit more. You only got like 27 5-star reviews or 29.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
agree.
something.
I agree completely. I make a little. It's only been a couple years, but in December I start making a little business plan, and on that list is reviews. So part of the plan here is I've got a client list now from my past 2 years. I'm going to go through the entire client list, especially the stuff I did the first year in 2019. Reach out to each one of those clients and tell them you're ready for me to come back and wash your house again, because I did it 2 years ago. So I'm sure you do again. Get them back on, and then I'm going to be asking every single person to give me a review, either on Facebook or Google. And the reviews are what gets you ranked number 1. Like when I first built my Google site, I wasn't getting anything. And then after I got like 5 reviews, all of a sudden now I'm showing up on search. And then more reviews. I just came up pretty quickly. And then,
Now, do you have much competition up there?
We do have actually a couple pretty big players right near me. There's a guy who's been in business about 5 years longer than I have, right about one town over, and he does quite a volume of business. And he's probably the biggest. I'm his competition. He's not my competition. You know what I mean? Like he owns the area. I don't own the area. I'm doing a
Right.
lot of area. I don't want to overstep what I'm saying. But I really believe I'm going to own the area at some point soon. And then I've got another very big company that's been in business for probably 10 years or more, about 10 miles up the road from me. And then there's a few smaller guys, like landscaping guys, that are doing a few things here and there, and some part-time people, but that's about it.
So are your sons still helping you clean and stuff?
Yeah, my sons come out on the job with me. They're pulling hose, moving ladders, that kind of stuff. I don't let them on the building or on the roof or let them do much that's really going to take any liability, because they are kids, and I don't want to get into any issues. But they're out there with me, and one of the main reasons I started this business was to spend more time with my kids, honestly, and get them involved and show them that there's other things to do besides sit behind a desk, and you can make a lot of money being outside, being happy. And that's really, this job has been I'm a little older. I don't want to say it's my retirement, because it's not in any way, but it's really like my Zen. It gives me focus and mindset, and I'm where I want to be, and I'm happy through the day. And making money is kind of just a nice byproduct.
Has it allowed you, by starting your pressure washing business, I always talk about time freedom and stuff like that we can get from it. Has it allowed you to have more time with your kids, being that you started the business where before in finance, I'm sure that's probably more of a daily grind and all of that kind of thing?
Yeah. So, again, I think I've got a little different perspective on this than some guys do. I think there's room for everybody's mindset. My mindset is the one man, one truck mindset. Some guys want to get into this and grow to however many rigs and all this other stuff. That's not what I want to do in my stage of life right now. I want to have control over my life. I want to choose to work or not work, or set days aside, or be able to say, I'm not responsible for somebody else's food on their table. So I don't have employees that I have to feed. So I can just put the brakes on anytime I want, or say, I'm taking 3 days off and hanging out with my wife, or going on some vacation, or whatever we want to do. And that's the beauty of having a small business and being self-employed. I'm still making enough money to be very comfortable, not have to worry about anything, and have complete control over my life. I don't have to work if I don't want to. If things aren't going our way, or something happens in the family or happens in your life, you can take a break if you need it. And that's a huge, huge thing for me. I can wash one house a day or 5 a day. It's up to me, kind of decide. So the same thing with marketing for me. This is like, I'm getting enough work right now where I feel like I'm working at a capacity that I want to be at, that I'm almost afraid to turn the faucet on all the way. I'm afraid to create this massive website that's driving leads or doing Facebook ads, and I'm not prepared to do all of that work. And I don't want to open the funnel up and get all this work and then fall flat, because that's going to be just as detrimental to my business as anything could be, if I'm winding up sullying my name that I've worked hard to create in the last couple of years by not being able to do the service that I'm offering, because I've opened the gate too fast.
Well, and like I always say too, you just got to start raising your prices at that point. So when you
right, you find better work, and you're upselling. I kind of set a monetary goal for the day. Like, I really don't want to work. I'm not going to wash one house a day. I'm going to put 3 on the day, or 4 or 5 on the day, and make it be a day that's worth going out. And if I can't book that number that I want to make for the day, whether that's one house might be all you do for the day, because you're doing a roof cleaning, a gutter cleaning, and washing the house, and doing their patio, and doing their fence, and all that, and you're there, and you've made a big number for the day. Okay, I'm done. That's great. And if I can't hit that target for the day, I'm not going out.
No, I love it. That's awesome, because then that way you get to spend more time with your family and kids and everything.
Yeah, my goal honestly is to, there are going to be, busy times. There were times in, June and May and June last year where it was off the rails. I think I worked at one time, I did 17 days straight of washing without a day off. And I was washing at least 5 houses a day, every single day. And that's by myself with a 4-gallon per minute machine, you know. So, I mean, my goal now is really to work 4 days a week. That's really what we want to do. 4 days, 3 days off. And then, you know, that might be that you take Saturday and Sunday off and Wednesday or Tuesday or something like that. So you kind of get a midweek break, work a couple days, take a day, work a couple days, take your weekend. That's the goal.
So James Brown wants to know, what's your goal for the day then?
What's my goal for the day?
Yeah, how much is it your goal for the day? He's itching.
Minimum 1,000.
So $1,000 a day, you know, what's your average ticket per job?
$425.
So you do packages, I'm assuming?
I don't do a lot of packages. That's something that I need to start building a little bit better on. I kind of do package with the roof wash. You know, I kind of tell people, like, if I'm washing your roof, you know,
Do the house.
I really need to clean your gutters, and I'm going to give you a huge discount on your house wash, because ultimately you're practically washing the house anyway. If you're doing a roof wash, by the time you're keeping all the siding wet and rinsed, you may as well just freaking wash the house. You've already spent all the time rinsing and rinsing. Just throw a little SH on there, and you got a house wash in. So, you know, that's really the packaging that I do. I don't do any gutter brightening, like with gutter butter kind of thing. I don't want to brush gutters. I'm not into it.
You don't want a good arm workout and a shoulders workout?
We do any of that? No, we I don't want to do that. It's too much work. So I mean, my gutter soffits come real clean with SH and decent surfactant anyway. The guys that are watching my channel see that I do the rinse with the X-Jet. So I do apply a little bit of pressure, and that seems to take everything down. So, you know, I'm usually soaping. I've been soaping for the last end of the season, soaping with the M5. So I'm soaping with low pressure. And then instead of going back and forth to the truck or using a remote, I switch nozzles, and I switch over to the X-Jet nozzle because it's a high pressure nozzle.
Right.
So it turns off the soap draw, and then I can still rinse, you know, 3 stories with the X-Jet. So that's my process.
Yeah, I like turning that soap off because I want as much gallon per minute of rinsings.
Yeah. So I do have a remote control that one of the guys on YouTube made for me. I'm probably going to put that on my truck this year and play with it. I did buy a downstreaming bypass injector, or, you know, downstream.
Yeah, where you shut off.
Bypass, yeah, I bought one of those this year. I'm going to put on the truck, see if I use it. I don't know.
So tell me, so you've only been in business for 1.5 years, 2 years. Tell me one thing that you failed in business and 2 or 3 things that you learned from.
One thing I failed in business on, I don't know if I really have anything I could say there. I mean, it's honestly been a very positive experience for me. I mean, I've had a couple. One thing I failed on probably is not getting into a CRM yet. I haven't even got into one yet. I do all of my business on paper. I think that personal touch is a lot of where my success locally has come, though. I live in a rural area. It's a little different, I think, than the areas that a lot of these guys that are watching the channel live in. It's a small town. Everyone kind of knows you, and the digital marketing. I try to look at things like, how do I buy things? Like, I'm not going to freaking buy anything, or I don't respond to anybody's email. You know, I don't respond to these text things that I get. You know, if somebody calls me and wants to talk to me and make a relationship with me, that's the person who's getting my business. So the CRM thing, I like the idea of it to track my clients and track where my monies are going and whatnot. So I got into QuickBooks this year, and I'm going to be using that to do my invoices and to track where my expenses go, because I want to be able to look back on my year and say, did I do more houses or did I do more roofs?
Right.
You know, you might have in your idea one place your money is coming from, and it's really not that place, you know, until you have it in a pie chart somehow, you know. So I would say the one mistake or biggest mistake I made was not getting into QuickBooks or something like that soon enough with my business. I wish I had done it from the start.
Well, and I think that's something, if nothing else, it organizes your customers and keeps them on there just in case, so that way you can keep in touch if you don't keep in
Correct.
touch. And
Right.
that is definitely something that will help you, especially if you want something to either help with your kids to keep running that business, or you to keep running, really, because your referrals aren't really going to start coming until that year 2 and 3. And
Right.
if you're not hitting them with your CRM, you may not, if you're still in your Rolodex, you can't really go easy to get it out. And I know some of these people on here don't know what a Rolodex is because they're too old for that, or they're
I
too
do.
young for that. But
I do. No, but you're absolutely right. It'd just be put it all in one place, a little more easier to search through. I mean, you should be able to search for keywords in the fall and say, gutters, and you can look at all the clients you did gutter cleaning for in the last couple of years and start tagging them, or roof cleaning or whatever it is you're looking for, instead of having to flip through all these papers and look for things, one line at a time. So I'm hoping that helps me. Um, I'm hoping that QuickBooks helps me market a little bit also, because again, it's going to compartmentalize those jobs for me, and I'll be able to go back through and look for gutter cleaning, or look for you know roof cleaning.
Jordan put, you better use that bypass injector.
Yeah, if I got to walk back and forth to the truck to turn it on and off, I'm not using it. I'm
So,
not. I'm
so
gonna use that probably for like rinsing. If I know I'm gonna surface cleaning, that's when I'm gonna be using it, so that I'm getting the better flow. But as
yeah.
far as like me going back and forth to the truck, turn soap on and off, I'm not doing that.
So, self-limiting beliefs, but I want to hit on something else, because like I say, I do have a lot of older guys that take my class, that take my, I just had Ed Yates out of take my pressure washing class. He's got everything set up, and it's the problem of getting customers, the issue of getting customers. And so, as an older person, and you're talking about doing Facebook and stuff like that. Obviously, that's got you a bunch of business. I push signs a lot of times. Same thing, signs. What are some other ways for an older person to be confident that that's going to give them business?
To be confident that the signs and stuff are going to give you business.
Or just, the process of getting customers?
Process of getting customers. I mean, you just have to. I don't know. You got to break through the limiting belief that you're not worthy of getting the customers, or that they wouldn't work with you for some reason. And I think that once you once you knock on the first few doors and talk to the first few people and get that first client or two, that's what starts to break down that limiting belief for you, and it starts to become a high, and you start chasing that high. You start realizing, like, wow, I got to keep doing this because it makes me feel good, and I'm going to start getting clients from doing this. Don't be afraid to get in front of people. Don't be afraid to knock on doors. It is probably the hardest thing in business, is asking for business. The hardest thing is the ask. But once you get past that fear of asking, it's very powerful. You don't get anything in life that you don't ask for. You've all heard the saying, the power of ask. It's a real thing. You got to ask. Um, you got to ask the universe to give you what you want. It's funny, like when I first was looking at YouTube, Jason, your channel was one that I was impressed with, and never thought that I would be interviewed on your channel. So this is really like a full circle for me, and I asked for these things to happen in my life by my actions. Putting one foot in front of the other, not being afraid to go out and find the business and do the business and do the work and make mistakes and share those mistakes and talk to people about, what I want to make out of this business. And then it's just starting to really snowball, and it's amazing. And it's all because of you asking for things to come your way.
And that is something that when I say that I want to help people grow and be successful, that I truly do believe that. Even like you were saying that, you come to my channel, and now that you're on it, you're probably, you probably never thought that would ever happen back 2 years ago when you were doing it. And And that's the awesome thing that I love to see, people being successful and people being able to spend time with their family, being able to spend time when things go, not that aren't always great, but you know what? You love doing business. You're able to spend more time with your family, and that is what I love to be able to help people to do. And if I was guessing, it's probably helped you get financial freedom also in the end of the day of
Oh,
it.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's been wonderful. I mean, I've said several times on my channel too, the whole YouTube experience for me, it just like it knocked me upside the head. Like I never expected it to become what it has become. Like I say, a year ago, I was just trying to, 2 years ago, I was just trying to figure out, well, no, 1 year ago, I was just trying to figure out online how to upgrade. And again, looking at, your processes, Rob Anderson, all these great people that I've met on YouTube, and started charting my own journey a little bit just to try to mark my evolution and look back on things and create more of a video log for myself than anything. And it really caught on. And I've met so many cool guys in this industry. It really freaking blows my mind how many really genuinely good people I've met that want to help each other. I think it's really an anomaly. I don't really see it happening in a lot of other industries. I'm not sure what it is that brings us together in this industry. I think that a lot of us have a lot of the same backstory. We came from someplace we didn't want to be, um, and we had that drive inside of us to, do our own thing. Or I'm not really sure what it is, but a lot of the guys I talk to telling me their story, I'm like, it's the same story as mine with a couple little different things in there. Um, and it's just been a great thing. I say to my wife, it's funny, like some people, it's not hard for guys, especially, to say anything nice to each other, right?
Right.
And some people have said the nicest things to me on YouTube anybody's ever said to me in my life. People that I don't even know, and it just blows my mind. And it really makes me want to continue to be more a part of the community, continue to make videos that hopefully are helping people. Um, Much like what you're doing, only not nearly on the same level. You're doing some great stuff. I'm just taking you along for the ride and showing you the mistakes that I make on on my channel. Um,
No, and I love it, because honestly, that's, and I know what you mean by the stories that people tell you, that you inspire people, you give people hope. Even you, I know you do. You got 5,000 subscribers on your channel almost, or right at 5,000. And,
we've
how many people have you helped get out of, get out of debt, get to the next level?
Guys will message me and they'll say, thanks for giving me the courage to go try to do this on my own. I quit my job and I'm doing that. It's like, it blows my mind. That was never my intention at all with the channel. It still isn't my intention with the channel. But just showing people what you're doing, and they're just like, you've encouraged me. You've given me inspiration to try it on my own, and that's the reward. It really is a huge reward.
And that's what I mean. I love helping people, obviously, and I love helping people get to be successful. So, self-limiting beliefs and disbelief doubts can be things that can make us not successful. A lot of times we tell ourselves, reality, people would never pay that. There's all different kinds of self-limiting beliefs of things that, when I was growing up, I grew up in a Christian home of, money is evil, and we kind of, and it's like, no, that wasn't what they were saying. That's not what the Bible says anyway. It says the love of money is evil, and
Right.
so that's saying that self-limiting beliefs. Have you had to deal with any self-limiting beliefs, and how do you overcome those?
I think I overcame a lot of the self-limiting beliefs earlier in my life before I got into this business. To be honest, I worked in finance, mortgage sales for 15 years, and that cures a lot of that for you. Fear of talking to people, or that job put me as the middleman in everyone's most stressful transaction of their lifetime. So it taught me a lot. Like I was the person that was always putting out the fire or always finding the solution to somebody's problem. Um, because in the middle there, you're the one that's not only presenting the problem but presenting the solution to the problem in mortgage. And if anybody was mad at anybody in the transaction, it was always me they were coming after, So I learned through that 15 years a lot of technique to, push through any self-limiting belief that I had. And it really made me a lot more confident and stronger in my ability to talk to people in sales. And thankfully, I've been able to carry that into the pressure washing business, where this is just, the thing I like the most about this business is the ease of talking to people, and that they're not mad at you about anything. Once you begin to realize, all you got to do is just start knocking on doors and just start talking to people. Just talk to people and tell them what you're doing, and offer them a solution to a problem. That's one thing that we're all doing in our lives and our jobs, is we're solving somebody else's problem for them, and they're paying you for it. You pay people to solve your problems; they pay you to solve their problems. It's simple. It's really simple.
That's awesome. So, if you had to start all over, what would you tell a new guy?
What would I tell a new guy? I would tell him, buy a truck as soon as you can. Get, seriously, the truck. I can't reiterate how much I think the truck transformed my business. I think it's more important than a trailer. It's more important than the most expensive piece of equipment. I think that it makes you look like a contractor. It makes you look like a real contractor on the road. I think it's one of the most important things is having the truck. It really makes you, more than anything else, more than a uniform, more than lettering, more than a website, locally, the truck is the rolling billboard, and it kind of is the accumulation of your branding that you're trying to do, So, this year I'm trying to brand my company more, where last year I was putting out signs and stuff that only said house washing with my phone number. And I got work from that. And I believe that's all it really needs to say. And I talk about, simple all the time. House washing, phone number. I don't care.
You mean you don't want 10 services on there and all that stuff where you can't even read it?
No, absolutely not. I don't read, and again, I go back to what works for me. I don't read any of that stuff. It just, I don't even see it. But this year I'm going back a little bit, and my yard signs are going to have my logo on them, because I want to start to brand my logo more. So I kind of rebranded my truck. I got some, better lettering on my truck. Again, very simple. My truck says roof wash, house wash, gutter cleaning. That's all it says, with my phone number and my logo. It doesn't list out wood decks, fences, all this nonsense. 3 simple services. But people start to see my ad in the paper. They start to see my logo on Facebook. They start to see my yard sign with my logo on it. And then they see the truck rolling through town. And I take my truck everywhere. I go to the diner in my truck. I park my truck out front of the diner. I take my kids to school in my truck. All the moms go to school. All the dads go to school, dropping their kids off. All the teachers, all the bus drivers, everybody. Any event that you go to, you take your truck, you park it. And the truck is what brings all that branding back home, I think. People start to see that truck, and then they're like, this must be the guy. I see this freaking guy everywhere. I see his logo everywhere. I see that truck everywhere. I go to Lowe's, whatever, park the truck in a prominent area, so that it's seen by homeowners and moms and dads and people that are, needing a service. So I would say,
and you're hitting that multi-touch too. You're not just hitting them in the truck. You're also hitting them in the Facebook groups. You're doing. Right. Are you doing lives in any of the Facebook groups? Or are you doing a live on your Facebook group or Facebook on your own?
No, I haven't advanced to that level yet. A lot of things like that I need to learn about. But for sure, guys ask me all the time, like, what's your market? What do you do for marketing? Where it's not. For me, there's not one thing, it's that, like you're saying, it's the full circle of things. I get a couple leads from each thing, and all kind of comes together to being 10 jobs a week. If you get 2 from here, 2 from there, 2 from here, then you got 6, and then your yard signs are bringing more in, and people are calling you because their friend told them about whoever, and then, you've got enough work to do.
And do you do 5 rounds or anything on your jobs when you're out, or are you out in the country that you can't do that?
Yeah, it's a little harder to do that here. I was doing that more when I very first started than I did last year. I was finding that the yard sign was working better than me walking around with flyers. And I got honestly, I probably should have been doing it more last year, but I wound up a little too busy where I didn't want to take time to walk around the neighborhood. But I did have door hangers, nice door hangers made up this year by Tim Fields, and I got a nice deal. I got 1,000 of those, and so when I'm out with my father-in-law or one of my sons, that's going to be their job this year is to be doing my 5 rounds with these door hangers. And one little thing I want to say about the door hangers, like we talked earlier in the interview about overthinking things. Okay, don't overthink your door hangers. Okay, it doesn't really matter that it's your work or some canned artwork on there. It doesn't have to be houses that you did. It doesn't have to say anything specific to you. It just needs to say the service, your logo, and a phone number. They're not going to judge you on your flyer. Don't get caught up spending a bunch of time trying to make it perfect. Just get some made and get out there with them.
No, and that's a good point of don't and when we try to do it in everything, we want to overcomplicate everything. You know, we can make something that's simple and overcomplicate it so fast it's not even funny, and then it just takes us. And then all we do is go around in a circle at that point because then we're just chasing our tail because we want to see if we can overcomplicate that overcomplicated thing. You know.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, and it is, and again, you just got to keep it simple. KISS is really the best thing you can do is keep it simple, stupid. At the end of the day,
Yeah, yeah. I say that all the time. I can tell you, like, people are like, "How are you doing this? How are you doing this?" I can always tell you, if it's not simple, I'm not doing it. You know, I'm gonna find the simplest way to do it every time.
and that's the whole purpose of doing it that way, of keeping it simple and making sure that you're doing it right the first time and doing it. A lot of times we start getting in down these rabbit trolls. I can't even speak. Rabbit trails of we try to do this, and at the end of the day, it's not simple, and it's just we're chasing our tail at the end of the day, and it's not helping us grow our business, and that's definitely not something we want to do.
You're making it less profitable.
Yep. Um, I just bought a truck or a trailer. So, what is something? So we talked a little bit about mindset. We talked about that. What about fears? I know you kind of said, and I think that helps when people are older, and especially where you come out of the sales inside of it, and that helps a lot of times. And was you mechanically inclined when you started doing this, or you just kind of?
Yeah. See, I am mechanically inclined. We talk about the poor mindset. I grew up without much, and was forced to, work on and figure things out for myself from a young age. And so, I definitely have a mechanical mindset. I worked as a bicycle mechanic part-time through my 20s. I raced bicycles and stuff like this. So, I have a mechanical edge, I think, that some people don't. I have a logical way of thinking. I try to remain calm as much as I can, especially out on the job. As things go wrong, you just need to try to troubleshoot, figure out a way to work around it. And again, I think having the ability to make do with what you've got is really key. And having some redundancy on your truck is also really key. You have to have more than one way to apply chemical or more than one way to rinse something. And at the end of the day, I tell a lot of guys this when they're first talking to me, like, how do I do whatever? All we're doing is spraying bleach on stuff and rinsing it off. That's all we're doing. And you can do that however you want. You can do that with a pump up sprayer and a garden hose if that's what you have to do. It's not the fastest way, but all you're doing is spraying bleach on stuff and rinsing it off. So don't let your machine crapping out or something going wrong scramble your day or scramble your brain. Figure out another way to get it done. You've got some other way to get it done. And if you don't, then learn from that and put a second thing on your truck, whether it's a pump up sprayer or a 12 volt or an extra 50 feet of garden hose or, whatever. Have another way to get it done so you can at least finish that job for the day. And I think that is some key thinking that you have to have if you're going to be one man, one truck and be the technician on the truck.
No, and that's I love that because that is true so much of, at the end of the day, we want to overcomplicate everything. I love when people are like, what chemicals you need on your truck? Make sure you can be successful. And I'm like, bleach.
Yep, that's about it. I got a couple videos too. Like I'm not sure some of the older guys know this, but it seems to be a big secret that you don't even need soap. You don't even need. I mean, surfactant has its place and definitely it helps, but you don't even need it. I've had guys tell me, I've got a job tomorrow and I ran out of soap. What do I do? You can do it with no soap.
Yep.
You can still
Yep.
wash out without soap. Like don't let I ran out of whatever special surfactant, apple wash or lemonator or whatever it is that you're using, and I can't get it for 2 days. You can still wash. You can. I'm not gonna say you should go get laundry soap or Dawn dish soap or something like that, but I would use no soap before
Right.
I used. I was using LA Awesome a lot last year. LA Awesome laundry soap. Let me be clear about that. Okay.
I was going to say, LA Awesome, you can do some damage with stuff with LA Awesome.
Yeah, so I used a lot of that last year. I was house washing with it. You get it at the dollar store. It costs $1 for 64 ounces of it. I used a lot of it, and I use very little of it in my mix, and it works really well. And I still use it, will still use it this year for roof washing. It's a decent surfactant that costs like nothing.
Right.
And if you run out of soap and you need soap, there's a Dollar General in every town, everywhere. You can pick it up, between jobs, practically anywhere. I'm trying to move away from that. I bought myself 5 gallons of Eliminator this year. I bought myself 5 gallons of Apple Wash to start the year off. I bought a 5-gallon container of Roof Snot from Russ.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start off with some better products this year. Again, tracking the evolution as we grow a little bit. We want to move away from the laundry soap kind of stuff and start using some industry-specific, soaps and stuff, because they are built differently. They do have different rinse aids in them. And live and learn. You start streaking windows and streaking siding. You're like, well, how come? Well, laundry soap, probably. Try using Eliminator Apple Wash, and then all of a sudden your windows are rinsing clean, and you got less issues.
And as somebody put, the more soap you put in it, the more rinsing you got to do.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So.
All right, Joe. Anything you want to tell anybody? Any last positive words of encouragement?
I would say, just don't think that you can't do it, and start with what you have and make use of what you've got. And don't let anybody tell you that it's not a good idea, okay? Because that's what I was getting, and I proved everybody more than wrong on that. And it's kind of a joke in the family now. People, my wife was it's a joke now, because she said, that's not going to take off, and then look at what it's done. And just don't be afraid to get out there and ask for work, and let everybody know what you're doing. If you're going to start a power washing business, you can't hide. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to start a power. Let everybody know that you're power washing. Let everyone know. Get on Facebook. Let everybody know. Tell everybody you know. Make it be the only thing you talk about, to the point where people don't want to even talk to you anymore. Like, they're sick of it. All that guy does is talk about power washing. You got to live, eat, and breathe anything that you want to be successful at, and do that for a while, and see where you go.
No, I love that. That's exactly. I got my King of Pressure Washing T-shirt that I wear, and I don't even pressure wash,
Right.
But
look what your mindset has turned you into.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Somebody did ask a question here. He's asked it a couple times. Can someone please tell me with slate roof soft wash with the process? Yeah, bleach 50-50. Spray it, rinse it.
It's rock.
It's rock. Exactly. All right, somebody. So again, we're going to jump off here. If you want to go check out pressurewashhelp.com/free, I have 30 days free to my course. Also, if you go check out pressurewashhelp.com/in-person training, I will be in Fredericksburg, Virginia, March 25th, I believe it is. And that's a one-day course. You'll have a garden hose full of information. Your head will be spinning, is usually what people tell me. But I just want to make sure you all are successful in getting where you need to be at. Hang on, Joe, and then we'll jump off here and see if this will